everyone. Today we're going to be looking at a circle graph, which is something that has x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared, right? By the end of this video, you should understand how this works and what I mean when I say this, and also answer questions involving circle graphs. So, first off, let's start with something basic. How do you work out the diameter of circle x squared plus y squared is equal to 64? Well, as I mentioned before, the circle always has a equation as follows. X minus a squared plus y minus b all squared is equal to radius squared, right? And this is the x coordinate of center, and this is the y coordinate of center. This is mainly for further maths people. I just thought I would mention it just in case there are a few people doing further maths. But for this video, we won't have anything with a's and b's, because in this case it will be just in the origin. Okay, so in this case we're told that x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared, and we know that r squared is equal to 64, right? So then what is r going to be equal to? R, the radius, is going to be root 64, which is equal to 8. But this question is asking us for the diameter, right? The diameter is just 2 times the radius, which is equal to 16. So the answer is 16. We can use this form here to solve any equation and to plot it. So, on the grid, what would x squared plus y squared equals 16 look like? Well, we know that x squared plus y squared is equal to 16, right? So therefore the radius squared is going to be equal to 4. Sorry, is going to be equal to 16, and the radius is going to be equal to 4. Is going to equal 4. Yeah? And so what we can do is, because we know that the center's at the origin, we can mark everywhere where there's 4. We got a 4 here, we got a 4 here, we got a 4 here, and we got a 4 here. Right? And now, let's draw a circle. You guys will have compasses. I'm doing this on the computer, so I'm doing this freehand. But that is what it should look like, roughly, give or take. You see? Because the radius is equal to 4. But what about if we have to answer some exam questions? So let's say we have something like this, right? How do we work out the equation of the tangent at this point? Well, the first thing we can do is we can draw the radius on our line, right? Sorry, that's a terrible radius. Let me do a better drawing. Much better. So here, actually I'm going to do that here. And one thing you need to note is that a radius is always perpendicular to the tangent. We'll go over this in a bit more detail when I start teaching geometry, but this is just one of those things you need to know. So, what we need to do then is we need to work out the gradient of the radius. The gradient of the radius is simply going to be delta y over delta x, which is, I mean, we have a 4 and a 3, so it's going to be 3 minus 0 over 4 minus 0, which is simply going to be 3/4. Yeah? So, now that this is 3/4, we've established that this is a gradient of 3/4. What is the gradient of the perpendicular going to be? Exactly, it's going to be the negative reciprocal. So the gradient of the tangent is simply going to be equal to minus 1 over 3 over 4, which is simply equal to minus 4 over 3. And so therefore, this radius, this tangent here has equation y equals minus 4 over 3x plus c. What is c going to equal? Well, we're just going to sub in this 3, and we're also going to sub in this 4. So what we're left with is 3 is equal to minus 4/3 times 4. Where's my colour? 4? No, it's going to be green. Plus c. And now let's solve the equation. So we're left with 3 is equal to negative 16 over 3 plus c. And so therefore c is going to equal to, what's 3 plus 16 over 3? 25 over 3. And so therefore we're left with y equals minus 4 over 3x plus 25 over 3. And that is our final answer. But more on tangents. What if we're asked something like this? Prove algebraically that a straight line with equation x minus 2y is equal to 10 is a tangent on the circle with x squared plus y squared equal to 20. Well, okay, remember what I said in the last video. If it doesn't make sense to you, draw a diagram. So if we draw a small sketch, y, x, 0, and then this is what my line looks like. I'm just going to assume it's a tangent. It might not be. We're trying to prove it. But let's take a look at it, right? Where would you be? So then you'll have negative x. Y equals negative x plus... Okay, so you'll be roughly there, I believe. Sorry, that's a terrible drawing. But look at this tangent. Look at this tangent, guys. How many points of intersection is there between the circle and the tangent? There's just one, which is this point here. So all we need to do is we need to prove that there is only one point of intersection. How do we find a point of intersection? We need to solve simultaneously. Now, we're going to have to use the substitution method because we have an x squared and a y squared. So let's make x the subject here. So if x squared, x minus 2y is equal to 10, x is going to be equal to 10 minus 2y. 10 plus 2y, excuse me. And now we sub in x for this number here. So what we're left with is 10 plus 2y all squared plus y squared is equal to 20. Let's expand that bracket. So we're left with 100 plus 40 y. I think that's correct. 2 times 10 times 2. Yep, 40y. Plus 4y squared. Plus y squared is equal to 20. So now let's collect the like terms. So we're left with a y squared and a y squared. We're left with 5y squared plus 40. And then let's put this 20 on the other side so it makes it all equal to 0. Y plus 80 is equal to 0. And now let's factorize this equation. So what we're left with is we have to multiply these two. 5 times 80 is equal to 400. Okay. So now let's think of two numbers that add to make 40, but multiply to make 400. 20 and 20. So now 5y squared plus 40y plus 80. Sorry, we have to split out the middle. Is equal to 0. Okay, sure. Is equal to 0. And therefore 5y squared plus 28y plus 20y plus 80 is equal to 0. And now let's factorize the two what we have. So we're left with here. We've got 5y y plus 4 plus, and here we have 20 y plus 4 is equal to 0. And so I'm just kind of squashing it a little bit, but here. And so what we're left with is 5y plus 20 times y plus 4 is equal to 0. And so what we're left with is from this one we're told that y equals minus 4. And here we're told 5y is equal to minus 20, y equals minus 4. Aha! You see? So now, because we only have one y value, we're also going to have one x value. So if x is equal to 10 plus 2y, which is the same as 10 plus 2 times minus 4, x is equal to 2. So then this point... okay. So therefore, this is the point we actually wanted. Okay, no worries, no worries, no worries. It's that just means that this is the tangent we're after, not this. Not a problem. So, okay. What then we need to do is we know that this point here, this intersection point, is 2 minus 4. And because there's only one, right, we can prove out, we've proven algebraically this straight line is a tangent of a circle. Because it only has one point of intersection on a circle. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope that you learned something new. If you guys like this video, please subscribe. It means the world. If you guys want some extra questions to ask, join my Discord server or leave me a comment, whichever you feel more comfortable. And if you guys need some extra one-to-one tutoring, drop me an email and I can send you a quote. Keep on learning as you have no idea what you're capable of doing.